Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. I have another PCM repair, this time working in a 2002 7.3 liters diesel F-250. The customer concern is EPC solenoid faults, P1747 and also P1247, and the hard shifting or problems with shifting on the truck. Very common situations on this truck, so I'm going to show you way to diagnose that properly in the vehicle so you know if you have a problem or not in the car. And I'm going to do the repair for him on this computer. So let me move you over to the screen. Let me make sure I have everything ready. And I think I do, as I normally do. I'm going to show you, well, first, the connection is pretty simple. I have already made the harness in here. So what you're looking at in here right now is just my connections to the computer in a short harness. All right, so let me move you over to the display. This is the note from Sean in California. So let me just get closer so we can read that. It says P1747, P1247, hard shift out of first gear. And it's a 7.3. The beam is not really able to be read in here due to these old computers on Ford. Sometimes they need the cluster in the computer to be connected in order to be read to read the beam number. So what I did is I did a manual settings on the scanner. So what you see right now is the diagrams from the computer to the solenoids. This computer has 5 solenoids inside. We have shift A, shift B, clutch, coast clutch solenoid. You can read it in the side, pressure solenoid, and it has also the transmission pressure sensor in here, and the torque converter solenoid. I also have the connector. This is the connector that goes to the transmission and the pinout. So we can see in there, as I said, shift solenoid B, A, the torque converter solenoid, the coast clutch solenoid, that will be 4, and then in pin 11, this is an error from Ford, all vehicles, right? In pin 11, what it says injector pressure sensor, that has nothing to do with that. That is the actual electronic pressure control solenoid. That will be the 5th solenoid in charge of the transmission. And then we have in pin 7, the transmission temperature sensor. All the tests you can do here, that probably is the best test for you. Or, I mean, depends how savvy you are as far as the wire diagrams. Let me move this camera 1 second. I move the camera so you get a better view of the switches in here, so you can see when I'm turning the computer on and off and so on. I'm waiting for the mailman as usual, waiting to pick up some of the computers, and it's that time during the day. I'm also waiting for my lunch. But yeah, so right now the computer is on, so let me put the SUS in the screen, and I'm going to put them in my screen so I don't need to be looking at that. The iPad, oh, where are you? Right here. Okay, so right now I have 2 pits selected in there, the EPC voltage and the electronic pressure control pressure. Even though it's reading 70 psi, which is wrong, because we can see there is no voltage. This should be reading voltage right now, and it's not. All right, so my mailman is here. So guys, I'll be right back. All right, that's taken care. One thing that I forgot to show you is where I am connected. Well, I am connected with a test light to power. I'm providing constant battery power to one leg of the test light, and then the other side of the test light is connected to pin 81. If we go back to the wire diagram, let me take the scanner out. I'm going to get a little closer so you guys can see this better. And let me get it back so you can see where I am. All right, this is pin 81. I want you to see how it goes into. This is pin 81 on the PCM, right? The power control module, which is what I have here. You will be doing the test on connector in the transmission, the one I show you the pictures on pin 11. If we go back to that picture, the pin 11 that says in here, injector pressure sensor input. Disregard that. It's just an error, a typo, right? All right, so going back to the diagram, what will you do? Okay, first, you want to check with the transmission and ignition on, because if we go back or up in the scanner, in the screen, pin 12 and pin 1 are the power supply for the solenoids. And they're coming from fuse 2.23, and the central junction box is a 20 amp fuse. And it says that it's hot in a start or in run. So that means that only is going to be powered here when you turn the ignition on, and it's going to stay there even if you're cranking the car. But when you turn the vehicle off, this power will go away, this voltage, right? And we have a ground. Let me just see what is ground in here. I think this is the ground. Let me just go back to that connector. Ground. Let me see. Injector, voltage supply, voltage supply in the start. Pin 8 voltage supply. Voltage supply in the start and voltage supply. I think it's another error here, because it says that it's 3 voltages in here. Pin 1, pin 8, and pin 12. Let me go into the diagram 1 second, guys. All right, guys, yes, we do have several errors on that connector picture. What is it? Right here. So you see how it's 8 says, is saying that it's voltage supply in a start and run. And this is where you have to be careful when you're even reading original information, because this is coming directly from FORD. Look at the connector right here up in the top where it says C168. If we go back to the diagrams where we were, C168, let me just move you right here. This is C168. So that is that connector. I am 100% sure that that is the correct connector. But the pinouts are wrong as far as what I'm showing you there. So be careful when you read diagrams, because that might mislead you. You think you're not really a tech savvy, or you haven't worked in your vehicle or never worked in a vehicle, and then you go and do this test following that recommendation, you will be lost. Follow my lead and you'll be okay. So pin 8, it is definitely a ground. So what are we doing in here? Okay, we're going to follow this pin 8. It says to go page to A and page 30.2. I had that ready here. So we got page 30.2, you can, or 30-2, you can see that up in the top. And that A is, I'm going to move right here. See, it's coming from page 3. We were in page 3, and this is A. So A will go and has all, this is a splice, so all these are connected to the same wire. And it tells me that I can find where this going is going over to the powertrain control module or P91 connector C175. That's the computer connector, P91. But we don't know what that is yet. And we can find that same pin on any of those pages, 24/7, 25/7, or 27/7. I pick up 24/7. That is for what we're working on. So, and that is exactly this pin, right? So we have, and it says that P91 on the transmission is signal return. What is signal return? A ground. So that is definitely 100%. I know I am 100% correct, and I want to show you how to do the test properly. So this is where I am slowly going to show you how it's done and where you need to connect. So if we go back again onto the same page we were, I am in connector pin 81 on the transmission, on the computer. One more time in here, you will be doing that on pin 11. Why? Because you want to go to the source. If you go to the source and everything is good in the test, that's what it's going to do here, and I'm going to show you what it's supposed to do. Then you go, because if you have that fault, something is happening. If you go over to the transmission and everything is working well there, then move over to the power control module, right exactly where we are. We're going to have to either use a piercing probe. If you don't know what a piercing probe is, that is a piercing probe. So what this does is you will unscrew this and you can pull. When you pull this, exposes, you put the wire here, and then when you start to screw this on, it has a needle. I'm going to screw it on so you can see it, hopefully. and it has a needle, very tiny needle in the center that is going to poke. Sorry, that is going to poke the wire, and you can do your test. You can put your multimeter lead or your test light. I would recommend you to do your test light with 4mm banana adapters. There is solderless adapters you can find in Amazon, very easy to do. And this is a 194 bulb with the wiring that you can find on Amazon. Very cheap, very easy. You can do your own test lights. All right, let's go back to the test. All right, so we have the P1747 on the transmission, and I can show you if we go over to the scanner that we do have that fault. So let me get out of here. Yes, you're looking at the scanner on my big screen. So we go over to codes menu in memory codes, because I did a cell test, and this is especially after the computer has been disconnected. You need to do a cell test. So if I scroll down, let me see, where is that one? Did I pass it or did I miss it? No, it's not giving me here. So how you find it? So I'm going to do the test with you guys, and you're going to see that. So let me actually move it here, and I'm going to put the scanner now on this capture. So you saw that we don't have the 1747 now, and the test light on the EPC solenoid is on. You're going to say, well, Mike, it's being commanded on. Yes and no. All right, let's do a key on, engine off cell test. That's what the KOEO means. So we're going to run this test. When these tests run, if the circuit is good, we need to see that light going off and on and off, on and off, on and off, all the way to the end of the test, and then coming back to be on. Sometimes it can stay off. That depends on the computer and the year of your vehicle. In this one, I think it stays on. All right, so we're going to do the test. Click continue one more time. And you see how it flickered one time, but it stopped. And the test is still going. And it's not. And you will see when the test finish, the light goes on. See, this is a problem. Okay, now if I go down to the fault code that were populated by the test, and we scroll down, we should find the 1747, and it's right here. You see, P1747, replace transmission filter. This is the recommendations that Snap-on gives. Replace automatic transmission solenoid pack. Well, yes. Replace transmission assembly. Wow. Replace torque converter. Replace. Don't replace anything. Don't replace absolutely nothing. There is absolutely not one good advice in any of those advices in there. What you need to do is do the test that I'm trying to describe to you here. If you do the test and the light flickers, well, the computer is fine. Your problem is in the computer. Is in the transmission. If the light does not flicker, your problem is in where? In the PCM, the powertrain control module. You can take the module out and send it to me. There is there is another way to test this component as well. I'm going out of the exit as I actually run the test again. It should finish by now. Come on. All right. So I finished the self-test that I run again. I don't know why. But so there is another way to run the test. And the other way to run the test is with the actual vehicle. So I have the original solenoid pack in here with all the signals ready to be connected in here. So I'm going to run the test. Because I want to make sure that you understand that this is actually a valid test. Let me just think about that. Yeah, let me connect this. I'm going to connect this because the reason I use a test light is to show you that it's a completely valid test. I have repaired all the computers that way, and I always check with this at the end to make sure it's able to open and close. And I want to make sure that we can do the self-test and it fails it again. Because the reason with the test light is pretty easy. Why? Because you don't need to be carrying the valve body out of the transmission in order to do the test, right? So you can just do a very cheap, inexpensive test get that tool done, put the ignition on, and do the self-test with the scanner, right? And then you will be able to find out if the problem is at the transmission or in the computer, right? Because the way that I do this, again, I am providing my own power to that test light. So what you need to do is put a wire directly to the battery positive, and you can condemn or not condemn, disregard of anything. If the light flickers in the transmission, all is good in there. If we flicker, if the light flickers with the test light and the computer is good, the fault will go away. And you will see that when I repair this computer, this fault will go away even with the test light. You will see that. But I want to connect this so you can see another test as well. So I'll be right back. All right, I got the transmission solenoids connected. I need to actually turn them on because it has a separate power. This voltage supply can go up to 40 amps. So I have a special connector on the back. So let me turn that on. I don't hear anything. All right, but let's do a test. Let's erase the faults. Yes, you're looking at the scanner and I'm recording. Yes. All right, the codes are being clear. Let's do a key on, engine on, engine off, self-test. I hear the solenoid pack just engage. It did it again. One more time. It's a very distinctive click. Those are very strong solenoids. Right, so let's see. We still got the P1747 in here, right? So this is exactly his concern. So I'm going to repair the computer. I already have his approval. And I'm going to do the test. So let me go over to, before I do the repair, I want you to see what the values are with the solenoid pack connected. Because what you cannot have is this right here, the EPC in 0 volts. You see right here, it says EPC solenoid 0 volts, and still we got the EPC reading 70 psi. So the same pits that we had before, they have not changed, and that is where the problem lies. So, or where the problem is. All right, so let me stop the video. I'm going to perform the repairs, and I'll be right back. I'm going to leave the solenoid pack connected. I can actually turn this off in here. And now you see it like no activity. That is not really a problem because I need to make sure that I can turn this off before I turn the computer off. All right, so I'll be right back, guys. All right, guys, the repairs are done. Let me power up the computer. Well, you can see I still have the computer open. Realistically, for these tests, I can have you seeing the computer from anywhere. So let me power this on. And I'm going to power the solenoid back on. Again, separate circuit. I can do it with the computer, but it's not the correct way because when I power the computer on, and if I put a constant power in there, it will be putting power through the computer, and that's not correct. All right, so let me go over to the scanner. We're gonna do the same test first with the solenoid pack. So let's erase the clear codes. Remember, we couldn't get rid of that code. All right, the codes are clear, and we're gonna do the key on, engine off, self-test. All right, I hear the clicking in there. And when this happens, it's not really much of a difference as far as the sound, unless you maybe put I don't know, like a sound tester or something like that you can see the frequency of the clicking, because by my eye I cannot see or hear the difference. All right, so we're going to scroll down and look for the 1747. It's gone. So this is 100% repair. All right, so let's go back now to the data, because I want you to see the big difference now on the actual readings from the EPC. And this is where the solenoid pack connected. So now if we go into the EPC, the pressure is actually showing the same way because we don't have it running. But look at the voltage. Now we have 14.82 volts. That's battery voltage. All right, so let me turn this off and I'm going to move to the test light. So I will prove you that with that test light, you can do a correct test and it will pass. So you don't, because what if you have a bad solenoid pack? You know what I mean? You have a bad solenoid pack and you think you have a bad computer. So we need to have something that we can completely not use the vehicle except for the computer, which is the test that we're trying to do, and make sure that we can get a correct diagnosis, right? That's what we're looking for. So let me move this over and I'll be right back. All right, so as you can see, now even I moved the solenoid pack completely out of the equation and we have the test light connected. Let me move you here. So I had the power removed from the test light so that power would not go through the computer. So let me turn the computer on and we need to erase fault codes and do the same process that we did before, right? So let me go over to the scanner. We're going to go into codes menu. Well, now this is on. Let me plug the test light on. We're going to clear the fault codes. All right, the fault codes are clear. And now let's do a self-test. And I want you to see that test light. Flickering, flickering, flickering. We didn't have that behavior before, right? So now we have a flickering test light that we didn't have. So you can see now that is the normal behavior. If you do that test in the transmission connector, there's nothing wrong with that signal. Everything is fine. And it's all the way from the computer. If you don't get that result, you need to move back to the PCM to see if you have a broken wire, an open wire, something is not right, right? All right, let's look for the 1747. I can see 1754 cause clutch solenoid. Why? Because we removed the rest of the solenoids. Those faults were not there, but I don't care about those. We don't care about those. 1746, pressure control solenoid circuit open. You see, now we have a circuit open, but not the 1747. Why? Because the computer does not like the resistance on the test light, but we don't have a 1747. What is my concern here? See if the computer is good or not, right? Okay, we can immediately see, and that's the end of the codes. Give me 1 second, my foot is here. All right, I'm back. All right, so let's go now. I'm going to get you here so you can watch me better. All right, so let's get now to, we no longer have the 1747 or 1247. Those are completely gone. Now let's go over to data, because I want you to see what is the reading with the test light, right? We saw the reading of the voltage now with the solenoid pack, a good solenoid pack connected. So if it's anything different than that, it doesn't mean it's bad. Because remember, those are brand new solenoids. The ones you have might not be brand new, and that can change a little bit, but you have to be very close to that. All right, we're going to transmission. And now look at the voltage with a test light. You see, this is the difference. With the solenoid, how much we have? 14.8. With a test light, we have 2 volts. So very different voltage. That's where the computer says, circuit open. Why? Because I'm not looking at, I'm not receiving the correct voltage that I was supposed to receive. So, but it's not shorted. So it's not a problem with the solenoid. It's not 1747, it's 1746. We're good. If you do that test and they give you that result, the computer is fine, working your transmission, and the problem is not there. All right, guys, Sean, your computer is ready. I will be contacting you shortly to collect payment. Thank you guys all so much for visiting my channel. I hope that you like the content. I'm trying to share a lot of diagnostics, a lot of information that you can use in the vehicle. Yes, I am repairing a computer, but I'm not just focusing myself on the computer. I'm also going into how to do the proper test in the vehicle, because this is a computer from a truck. Doesn't matter if it's connected to the truck or here. The test that I show you applies anywhere. You can do a bench test like I did, or you can do the test right in the truck. You don't have to take everything or nothing out. Why? Because you got the powers, you got the grounds, you got everything you need is there. All you need is a test light, right? And a scanner. All right, guys, thank you so much. If you're here and you can subscribe to the channel, if you haven't do so, please do. That really helped my small business a lot. Not just on YouTube, because this is how you find me. So every time you subscribe, YouTube promotes more and more my videos, and that really helped my small business a lot. If you do so, God bless you. Thank you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.